Alone in the wilderness, the dark rules every fire lookout must follow at midnight. The moon hung high, casting an eerie glow over the isolated tower, its beams slicing through the thick darkness like a knife. Perched on the edge of a cliff, the old fire lookout loomed like a ghostly sentinel, overseeing the sprawling, tangled wilderness below. And legends say that when the clock strikes midnight, the rules change, everything shifts. Shadows dance in ways that defy logic, whispers echo through the trees, and the air grows thick with an anticipation that sends shivers down your spine. Sam, the newest lookout, was barely settling in when the unsettling stories began to seep through the cracks of the cabin, tales of lost souls haunting the woods, of watchers who never returned. Locals said you could hear the trees moan if you paused long enough. His chest tightened at the thought. It wasn't just the ghost stories. It was the weight of the stillness, thick like wool. No cars, no phones, just the occasional rustle of a wild animal or the chilling hoot of an owl. And now, the sun was sinking, spilling orange light like spilled orange juice all over the horizon, painting the world with ominous colors. Through the rickety windows, he scanned the trees as they swayed, shadows morphing with each gust of wind. Something didn't feel right. His hands trembled slightly as he flipped through the manual he'd been given, the one with the strangely exclamation-marked notes. Always have a light on at midnight. Do not leave your post. A reminder that set his heart racing. The night unveiled secrets. As the last rays of sunlight faded, Sam felt the air grow heavy. Was it the weight of warning, or the unseen eyes he felt on his back? Before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Nightfall descended like a thick curtain, and suddenly, the world outside became a whispering void. The wind battered the tower, carrying with it a chilling sound, an unmistakable melody that sliced through the darkness. Not just the wind, this was something else. The trees seemed to hum, resonating with ancient secrets. Sam darted to the edge of the lookout and peered into the abyss, where tangled branches twisted like clawing hands ready to pull him into the night. What was out there? A figure darted across the periphery of his vision. A wild animal? Or perhaps something far worse. His breath caught, a lump forming in his throat. He wasn't supposed to leave the lookout, but curiosity clawed at him. If he didn't check, would he always wonder? But the warnings echoed in his mind, growing louder. The rules were clear. What if he broke them? The clock ticked past midnight, and a creak from the floorboard sent a jolt through him. He wasn't alone, not anymore. Was it a trick of the light, or did shadows ripple in response, calling him to join? The chill of a forgotten tale curled around him like a fog, and at that moment, all Sam could think was, what dark truth waited beyond the light? The clock's hands groaned as they ticked past midnight, each second punctuated by a steady rhythm like a heartbeat, echoing in the hollow tower. The shadows seemed to stretch and contort, crawling up the walls, and Sam could almost hear them whispering to him, flustering his heart with anxiety. An icy finger brushed the back of his neck, and he spun around, his flashlight beam cutting through the thick darkness. Nothing. Only the vacant corners of the lookout stared back, taunting him. But when he turned back toward the window, everything changed. The trees had transformed. They seemed to move, shifting unnaturally, limbs bending and twisting as if alive. He could feel the pulse of the forest beneath him, an anxious chaos synchronized with his rapid heartbeat. The haunting melody still laced through the air, a symphony of whispers rising and falling as the wind carried secrets just beyond comprehension. Panic licked at the edges of his mind. Suddenly, a loud crack broke the fragile silence. It came from the forest below, like a gunshot fired in the dead of night. Sam's stomach dropped. What could it be? He knew he shouldn't look. The manual had warned him. Yet, fear mixed with insatiable curiosity clawed at him, urging him forward. He took a slow step towards the door, shaking as his fingers brushed against the rusted handle. Images flooded his mind, those stories of the watchers who never returned, of the beings that roamed these woods. Clenching his jaw, he shoved the door open, the cold air rushing in like a serpent coiling around his legs. Clouded moonlight spilled over the broken ground, only the trees remained as witnesses, their dark silhouettes looming over him. With each step deeper into the wilderness, an unseen presence enveloped him, the forest responding to his movements. Shadows flickered, flickers of form and color that slid by just out of sight. A fleeting image, was it a face? Disappeared behind the trunks, leaving his heart hammering like a wild drum. "Get it together, Sam," he muttered. But the comfort of his own voice was fleeting, replaced by rustling leaves and soft footfalls behind him. He glanced back, paranoid, but there was nothing. The moonlight revealed paths of tangled roots, twisting around his feet, almost alive. Sam hurried forward, pressing on against the rising dread. Every instinct screamed at him to flee back to safety, but he had to see. He had to know what secret thrummed in the darkness. The lullaby of the trees turned sharper, a deafening crescendo rising in his ears. And then he saw it, a figure standing just beyond a cluster of trees, half illuminated by the moon. It was too far to make out any details, but Sam felt the weight of its gaze. Time slowed, and Sam's breath hitched. "Who is there?" he called, his voice a mere whisper against the cacophony of silence. The figure didn't move. It felt like an eternity before it finally stepped forward, revealing a face. Not just any face, one he recognized. A sense of familiarity washed over him, but unsettled confusion paired with dread filled his heart. "What are you doing here?" he breathed, realizing he was holding his breath. But the figure only tilted its head, and in a voice that echoed like a shattered memory, it whispered, "You shouldn't have come." Sam's heart pounded louder, drowning out the symphony of the woods. The darkness began to swell around him, thickening like a fog ready to envelop him whole. His mind raced, the walls of the cabin and rules crumbling away. What had he uncovered? The truth of the forest was revealing itself, dark and terrible. He felt trapped in its web of shadows, eyes peering from the blackness, waiting. And for the first time since arriving, the weight of fear truly sank in. He took a hesitant step back, adrenaline coursing through him. But the figure advanced. Just then, a low growl snapped through the air. As the chilling realization hit Sam, just beyond the figure stood another shape, a larger beast. In that moment, he knew. What should he choose, run towards safety or confront the darkness head-on? His fate waited in the night, swelling upon him like the breath of a tidal wave. Would he uncover the mystery or become just another whisper, lost among the trees? The decision loomed like the shadows, stretching and darkening around him. Sam's pulse roared in his ears, a wild symphony contrasting sharply with the stillness of the forest. The figure ahead had an unsettling familiarity, yet it twisted his memories, distorting the face he thought he knew. He felt cornered, trapped between the ghost of the past and the unholy presence threatening to close in. He took another step back, heart racing. The growl deepened, vibrating through the ground beneath his feet. If he turned, could he outrun whatever lurked in the shadows? A flash of doubt coursed through him. The stories he dismissed as mere folklore echoed back, whispering that those who fled often became the hunted. The figure stepped closer, and clarity broke through the haze of confusion. "Lila?" he uttered, the name like an incantation. Lila had vanished years ago, a disappearance that left a gap in his life, a void filled with unanswered questions. But what she was now, standing before him, felt far from the girl he loved. "I told you," she said, her voice ice-cold and haunting. "You shouldn't have come. What happened to you?" Panic clawed at his throat as the shadows around them flickered, alive and watching. His instincts screamed to turn away, yet he couldn't look away from her vacant gaze. The beast behind her shifted, a hulking mass barely moved by the moonlight. The hunger in its eyes was primal, a hunger not just for prey, but for something deeper, a soul. A past? Dread crawled up Sam's spine like an insect. "Help me," Lila said, her voice a mere echo now, haunted by something darker. "It knows you're here." With each word, the air thickened, the woods closing in like an embrace that smelled of damp earth and decay. Sam's throat tightened. This was no reunion, it was a warning, and behind her, the beast's growl deepened, full of impatience. "I can't help you," he shouted, the truth bursting forth from fear and despair. "You're not Lila. You're something else." The response from the figure was a pained expression, an echo of the girl with laughter that had once danced through summer afternoons. The haunting shadows shifted, rippling against the backdrop of her eroded image. The darkness seemed to pulse with fury, and the beast inched closer. Panic gnawed within him, urging his feet to turn and run. Should he trust the flickering image of Lila, even if it felt like a ghost? Or should he break free, escaping into the nightmare of the woods in hopes of finding safety? A low rumble filled the air, a warning, perhaps. Was it the growl of the beast? Or the whisper of the forest urging him to flee its clutches? "Sam!" Lila's voice split the silence, a crazed urgency. "Run! Please!" But his feet felt glued to the ground, paralyzed by the weight of memories and the fear of choosing wrongly. Just as he finally made a decision, a piercing howl shattered the night. It seemed to command the shadows, forcing them to leap forward. Sam gasped, adrenaline piercing through the icy grip of fear that it was now or never. With a desperate leap, he dove to the side, but the shadows twisted, reaching out like tendrils of darkness. Just as they brushed against him, a blinding pain seized his arm. He looked back for Lila, but she was gone. Only the looming beast remained, eyes locking onto his escape route. Instinct kicked in. He had to get to the lookout. It was the only thread of safety left. As he ran, branches clawed at his skin, the darkness encroaching, roaring in displeasure with each step. Behind him, a guttural growl surged forth, sending icy fear flooding through his veins. What was pursuing him? The knot of uncertainty and dread twisted further, threatening to drag him down into the blackest depths. Would the tower still stand against whatever hunted him? Could he close the door behind him before the darkness swallowed everything whole? With breathless determination, he pushed forward, desperation fueling every frantic stride. As he neared the lookout's door, he heard the whispers return, ominous and demanding, an echo of words spoken long ago. "This is just the beginning, Sam." What else awaited him in the remnants of the past? Would he find answers or unleash something far more terrifying from the depths? The door loomed ahead, the haze of fear and adrenaline blurring Sam's vision as he sprinted toward it. Each step reverberated in his chest, thumping in time with a growl that echoed ominously behind him. The whispers in the trees grew louder, winding through his mind fragments of old tales he'd heard as a child, warning of dark forces that roamed the night. They were coming for him, hungry and relentless. That he reached the door, grasping the cold metal handle. His heart pounded like a drum, sweat and dirt mixing on his skin as he flung it open. The wood creaked, protesting under the sudden force of his push. Without waiting to catch his breath, he stumbled inside and slammed it shut, pressing his back against it, lungs heaving. The space was dimly lit, scattered with the remnants of the past, dusty maps, a rickety old lantern flickering on a table, and binoculars strewn haphazardly. A chill settled in the air that had nothing to do with the temperature. Sam's eyes darted around, desperate to lock onto something, anything that could help him make sense of what was unfolding. Lila's voice echoed in his mind. He shook it off, forcing his focus to the single window overlooking the expanse of trees, dark and shadowy, vibrating with life or something else entirely. He couldn't help but wonder if she had been right about him not belonging here. His instinct guided him to find safety, yet the gnawing feeling that he had walked into a trap persisted. A sudden crash resonated from the door. His heart stopped. The beast was trying to break in. Sam stumbled back, nearly tripping over a chair. What could he do? He needed a weapon, something to defend himself with. He rifled through the old ranger supplies, finding a rusty axe against the wall, the blade dulled but still menacing. It was better than nothing. As he gripped the handle, a story flared to life in his memories, the old ranger's stories of traps and warning signs, of how the trees themselves could betray you. Just then, the door buckled, splintering at the edges. A deep rumble vibrated through the cabin, sending a shard of ice through Sam's veins. The growl morphed into a chorus of snarls, as if many creatures had gathered beyond the door. They knew he was trapped. "Stay back," he shouted, brandishing the axe as he guarded himself. The boards groaned again. Was it fear or anticipation? The door shook violently, splintering further, and the howl that pierced the night was filled with anger, desperation. Just then, he caught a flicker of movement through the window. Shadows danced in the moonlight, swirling around like a living fog. They pulsed, breathing with an almost tangible hunger. With his heart in his throat, he turned back to the door, axe poised to defend, mind racing with thoughts of escape. How long could he hold out? But then he heard it, a distant whisper weaving through the chaos, soft yet commanding. "Find me, Sam." His breath caught. It was Lila. The creature outside wasn't just hunting him, it was consuming an echo of her, a twisted version of the bond they once shared. A gnawing realization settled in: if he wanted to save her or what was left of her, he couldn't just hide behind walls. With newfound resolve, Sam moved toward the broken door, ready to confront the haunting shadows. Would he face the nightmare lurking beyond, or would he crumble under it? The howls grew louder, a cacophony that echoed in the hollow chambers of his heart. He took a trembling breath, the weight of what lay ahead resting heavily on his shoulders. What awaited him outside? Would he become the hunter, or forever remain the hunted? The door splintered with a ferocious crack, driven by the fury of unseen beasts. Sam felt the wood tremble beneath his hands, the eerie whispers clawing at his sanity. "Lila!" He shouted again, hoping his voice could somehow break through the darkness, reach her lost spirit. But his breaths came in sharp bursts, and the sounds behind him swallowed his cries. That he swung the axe at the door, not out of aggression, but in a desperate act of defiance. Each strike echoed like a heartbeat against the pounding on the other side. Cracks spread through the wood-like veins, and Sam's resolve tightened. There wasn't a choice anymore. He had to confront whatever lay waiting beyond this fragile barrier of safety. He took a breath, steel surging through his veins. Sam forced the door open just enough to slip through into the night. Outside, the air was electric, charged with a tension that crackled around him. Shadows twisted and curled, amorphous shapes dancing just at the edge of his vision. "Find me," the whisper echoed again, drawing him deeper into the darkness. It was almost melodic now, as if Lila was weaving magic with her words. That he gripped the axe tighter, shivering as he stepped over the threshold. The forest loomed fantastically around him, trees reaching like skeletal fingers against the sky, their leaves rustling in a sinister breeze. Sam squinted through the gloom, scanning the expanse. A sign flashed in his mind: danger lurks where the shadows fall. With every ounce of courage, he stepped further. The growling intensified, a symphony of hunger closing in. Surrounded by the thick scent of pine and earth, Sam focused on the whisper. It seemed to pulse with an urgency, almost guiding him, teasing him toward a truth shrouded in the shadows. Then, just ahead, he caught sight of something, a pale glimmer that flickered like hope. The moonlight caught it momentarily, a reflection from the surface of a river winding through the trees. He moved toward it, the rushing water beckoning, and the haunting cries fading slowly behind him. As he approached the river, he caught a glimpse of his reflection. But it wasn't just him looking back. Lila's image shimmered, just for a split second, then flickered out. The water surged, powerful and alive, mirroring the turmoil in his heart. "Sam! Help me!" The voice was clearer now, laced with desperation. Panic clawed at his chest, blending with a rising tide of resentment. "What happened to you?" He shouted into the dark. In that moment, the shadows around him shifted, swirling tighter. A figure materialized, human yet grotesque, eyes burning with an unholy fire. "You're too late, Sam." She's already lost. An icy chill seized him, the hint of a grin on the thing's lips twisting his heart into knots. The trees sighed ominously around him, as if mourning a truth Sam could hardly bear. No. Sam yelled back, feeling the wind whip around him, carrying the weight of his resolve. I won't lose her. He gripped the axe fiercely, heart racing as he prepared to charge. But as he lunged at the figure, it evaporated into mist, leaving just the whisper hanging in the bitter air. Let go, Sam. It's easier this way. The trees trembled, and the howls rose again, merging into a single wave of sound that crashed over him, crashing down like a torrent of despair. Trapped between the bond he sought to reclaim and the weight of this new nightmare, Sam faltered. If he lost the fight, would Lila remain trapped too, forever enslaved by these nightmarish forces? But if he pressed on, what awaited him at the end of this dark path? What lay in store as the moon hung high and magnificent, the night still young, and an unwritten fate drew closer? Would he be strong enough to confront the truth, or would the shadows claim him next? A tension filled the air as Sam steadied himself by the riverbank, the moon casting ghostly reflections on the water's surface. The swirling shadows around him felt alive, each rustle of leaves amplifying his panic. He glanced in every direction, his heart racing, waiting for the figure to reappear, yet dreading its return. Lila! He cried again, though his voice sounded small among the towering trees. Where are you? The water churned beneath him, its sound a constant reminder of the battle to come. He needed to act. Every second spent in hesitation felt like betrayal. Raising the axe, he stepped forward. The whisper had promised guidance, but now it felt like a cruel taunt. The rasping laughter of the shadows echoed in his mind, taunting him. You can't save her. You can't even save yourself. With renewed determination, he plunged into the dense underbrush bordering the river. Twisting vines and thorns clung to him, pulling back like the hands of the forest itself trying to stop him. Each step forward felt monumental, yet the shadows thrummed with urgency, whispering secrets he dared not hear. That he barked out a harsh laugh, almost to drown out the terror coursing through him. I won't let you win. He shouted. I'll find her, and I'll break whatever hold you have over her. A steely resolve settled in his chest. The whisper re-emerged, more insistent. Help me, Sam. Lila's voice drifted on the wind, a melody laced with despair. He could almost see her trapped just beyond the veil of darkness, waiting for him. Suddenly, a gust battered him from behind, a chill that seeped into his bones. Sam turned, swinging the axe low, ready for an attack. The world felt eerily still, and then he caught sight of something. The mist swirling at the edge of the trees began to coalesce, that a hissing sound sliced through the silence. The grotesque figure materialized again, darker than before, its eyes glowing with an ominous fire that lit up the space around them. You're venturing deeper into her darkness, Sam. Do you truly believe love can save her? Love is the only thing that can. He shouted into the void, charging at the figure. But once more, it disappeared like smoke, leaving behind a heavy sense of loss that wrapped around Sam like a shroud. The silence roared around him, and his emotions spiraled into an overwhelming desperation. Lila! He cried again, and this time, anger filled his voice. You've got to fight. Fight for us. The shadows pushed back, bucking against his words, but he held his ground. Their whispers scratched at his mind, but he pressed on through the chaos. He had to remain focused. Then, just as despair threatened to strangle the breath from him, a break in the clouds allowed a shimmering shaft of moonlight to invade the darkness. It illuminated a small clearing ahead, revealing something a glimmer. It was Lila's bracelet, twinkling against the cold earth. Heart pounding, he sprinted toward it, but an ear-splitting growl erupted from the trees. Sam froze. Terror swelled, and he felt the shadows closing in again, moving like a wave crashing over the shore. Whatever was lurking in the dark was hungry, and it listed his name like a prayer whispered for a sacrifice. In that heartbeat, doubt boiled within him. Was he walking into an ambush? Or, could he be close to breaking the grip of the nightmare? With trembling hands, he reached for the bracelet. But before he could grasp it, a sound like splintering glass echoed around him. Shadows shattered, and a new figure emerged, a twisted reflection of Lila, her face painted with fear and anguish. "Sam," it hissed, voice dripping with mockery. "What will you do now?" A decision loomed before him, heavier than ever. Would he save her, or would he fall prey to the darkness threatening to engulf them both? "Together we can fight," he whispered, cradling the bracelet in his palm. But would he find the truth he sought, or wade deeper into the abyss? As shadows roared and darkness writhed, the night pressed onward, the end of the journey hidden beneath thick layers of mystery. What awaited Sam beyond this moment? Would they be able to break the suffocating grip of the night? Or was the truth more terrifying than the forest itself? The shadows around Sam writhed like restless serpents, their laughter echoing through the trees, mocking his every breath. Clutching the bracelet, he felt the cool metal biting into his palm, an anchor in the growing chaos. Lila's twisted reflection before him seemed to flicker, warping in and out of reality. "Is this who you want to fight for?" it taunted, eyes burning with malice. "This version of her? Broken, just like you. Stop it." Sam screamed, his voice raw with desperation. He gripped the axe tighter. "You're not her. You're a lie." The figure recoiled, a ghastly grin splitting its face. A lie? Or a truth too terrible to confront? The forest around him hissed in response, branches snapping as if in agreement. He looked at Lila's bracelet again, remembering how it glittered in the sunlight, symbolizing her strength and laughter. This was not her. This was a shadow, a path he refused to follow. The shadows lunged at him, shimmering with rage, but he stood firm. "I am not afraid of you." A sudden wind thrust him backward, the very earth trembling beneath his feet. Sam stumbled, but he regained his footing, determination fiery in his chest. He swung the axe in a wide arc, the blade slicing through the darkness that enveloped him. With a furious growl, the shadows recoiled as if struck. "Your love is weak." The twisted Lila screeched, the mocking laughter subsiding momentarily. "It can't save you. You're doomed." He felt a swell of courage rising within him, pushing back against the webs of doubt. "Love is not weakness. It's the only thing stronger than your darkness." Sam shouted, the words reverberating through the chaotic atmosphere. With renewed vigor, he charged forward, aiming the axe at the shadowy apparition. The moment the blade met the entity, it wailed, a sound that echoed with ages of pain and fury. "No!" it shrieked, its form distorting, trying to slip away. But Sam wouldn't let it. He swung again, this time cleaving a path through the encroaching shadows surrounding him. They screeched in agony, recoiling as he moved closer to the heart of the darkness. The forest seemed to dim further, yet in that moment, he felt the warmth of Lila's love pushing him onward, guiding his hand. "Lila!" he called once more, voice penetrating the chaos. "I know you're fighting. I believe in you." The twisted figure faltered, hesitation feeding through the darkness. "She's gone. You'll never see her again." It growled, yet its voice wavered. "Not yet," he replied, rising up against the fear. The shadows flickered, reacting to his conviction. If he could simply reach the heart of the darkness, but just then, the ground beneath him trembled violently, cracking open as though the world itself conspired against him. Sam found himself grasping at thin air, teetering on the edge of a black abyss that seemed to swallow every drop of light. "Help me!" he heard Lila's voice echo faintly from the depths. "Bring me back." The connection surged through him, a lifeline he couldn't ignore. With a final, desperate swing of the axe, he hurled himself forward, diving after the sound of her voice, ready to confront whatever awaited him in the deepening abyss below. As darkness threatened to fold around him, a piercing light blazed at the bottom. It was a beacon, a chance. But would he get to Lila in time, or would they both be lost within the shadow forever? Something tugged at him from the edge of that light, a beckoning that hinted at horrifying truths waiting to be unearthed beneath the surface. What awaited him in the heart of the dark? Could this light be the salvation he sought, or the beginning of a nightmare? As he descended, the tension grew thick, and Sam braced himself for the unknown. The air grew thick as Sam plunged into the abyss, the world above him fading into a mere memory. For a brief moment, he was weightless, enveloped in an uncomfortable silence. Then, the ground rushed up to meet him, slamming him into the cool, damp earth. He lay there, disoriented, gasping for breath. Light was all around him, bright and blinding, yet it felt ominous, as if it were watching him rather than offering warmth. He blinked rapidly, trying to adjust, trying to push away the sudden swell of panic in his chest. "Lila!" He called out into the dazzling brightness, his voice trembling as it echoed off invisible walls. But there was no answer, only the flickering whispers of shadows creeping at the edges of the light. He could feel their insistence, their chill seeping into his skin, urging him to succumb to despair. Through the haze, he saw her, a figure on the ground, motionless yet somehow radiant amidst the chaos. Sam's heart leapt. It was Lila. He scrambled to his feet, his legs weak but driven by love. He rushed to her side, brushing aside the shadows that clawed at him, desperate to keep him away. "Lila!" He reached for her, his trembling fingers grazing her cheek. Her skin felt cold, a stark contrast to the warmth of the glowing light surrounding them. "Please, wake up." Her eyes fluttered open, but as they did, the bright light dimmed, revealing the twisted form of the shadow that had taunted him before. It hovered nearby, swelling with dark glee. "You search for her in a place where darkness reigns. Can you not see? She is lost," it hissed, each word dripping with malicious enjoyment. "No!" Sam shouted, voice breaking. "I won't give up on her." Lila's gaze flickered between awareness and confusion. "Sam," she murmured, a weak smile tugging at her lips before twisting into fear. "You shouldn't have come this place. Don't say that. We can get out of here." "I know we can." He gripped her shoulders, searching her hazel eyes for a flicker of hope, for the insistence of her spirit that had always grounded him. But the shadows closed in tighter, wrapping around them like a living shroud. "The heart of darkness is not so easily escaped, dear Sam," the apparition sneered, its voice wrapping around them like a snake. "Here, love is just another tool for despair." "No. You're wrong." Sam snapped back, adrenaline fueling his resolve. He turned to the shadows, raising the axe, feeling the cold metal pulse like a heartbeat in his grip. "You will not take her. I'll fight you with everything I have." With a fierce swing, he struck at the dark mass, but it swirled away, dancing just out of reach. Lila's eyes widened with fear, and in that moment, he saw something dark reflect back in the corners of her gaze. "It's too late for me, Sam," she breathed, her voice only a whisper against the howling despair surrounding them. "You can still save yourself. Leave me." The plea struck him like a blow. "I won't. You're stronger than this. We can break their hold together." Shadows crept up around him, cold fingers prickling his skin. Sam felt the ground tremble beneath him once more. The light flickered dangerously, and in that swift moment, he faced the choice to fight against the odds or to save himself. "Save me." Lila's voice wavered, a haunting echo drawing him closer to the terrifying truth. Before he could think, he lunged forward, diving into the depths of the darkness that threatened to swallow them both. In the heart of the shadows, a whirlwind of memories erupted, blurring the line between their past and present. Images of laughter, love, and betrayal cascaded like shattered glass around him. Sam struggled to stay grounded, but the swirl of emotions tugged at his heart, trying to tear him apart. "Lila!" he yelled, despair creeping into his voice. "I want to let you go. I'll find you. I promise." But the shadows twisted tighter, wrapping around him. The abyss yawned wide, darkness threatening to devour their very essence. Suddenly, piercing screams erupted from the shadows, a cacophony that clawed at his mind, what more lay hidden in this pit of despair? What had he unleashed? Sam fought against the tide of darkness, but the pulse of the shadows felt like a heartbeat, drawing him in deeper, threatening to crush the flickering light of hope they still held. Could he escape without losing Lila forever? Or were they both destined to be consumed by a darkness that sought to claim them? As he descended further into the chaos, an image of Lila, smiling and full of life, flickered to the surface, pushing him onward, but as he plunged deeper, he couldn't shake the feeling that the darkest revelations were yet to unfold. Sam's heart hammered in his chest like a caged animal, desperate to break free. He strained against the oppressive shadows, their freezing grip clawing at his limbs, attempting to drain him of hope and strength. Each scream that echoed around him felt like a branding iron in his mind, searing away reason. He had to find Lila. He had to. As he fought against the swirling mass, memories twisted like ribbons in his mind. He saw them together, laughing under a sun that now felt distant and unreal. She belonged back there, in the warmth of their laughter, not trapped here, enveloped in anguish. He needed to anchor himself to those memories, to not let them break. "Stay with me, Lila," he shouted, his voice raw, attempting to reach through the shadows to her. "I won't leave you. I promise." The darkness pressed in, alive and insistent. "Oh, but you must understand, dear Sam," the shadow crooned, its voice slick and oily, winding around his thoughts. "Lila is merely a light in a world of darkness. You cannot fight what is already inside you." A hot pulse of anger ignited inside Sam. He shook his head, trying to dispel the tempting words. "I refuse to be just another victim," he roared, swinging the axe again, this time with more conviction. The shadow recoiled. A sliver of light flared around his axe, narrowly illuminating the twisted visage of the shadow entity. For a moment, Sam caught a glimpse of its true form, a mass of writhing tendrils and hollow eyes filled with cruel pleasure. "Foolish boy," it hissed, the sound echoing back with all the fury of his darkest fears. "You think you can wield love like a weapon? What will it do when faced with the truth?" Suddenly, the world spun violently. The ground beneath his feet quaked, as if shaken by an unseen hand wanting to sift through the layers of his spirit. He steadied himself, trying to remember Lila's face, the way her eyes sparkled when she laughed. He needed that vision to guide him, but in an instant, the ground gave out beneath him, and Sam felt himself plunge again, deeper into the void. The shadows opened into a vast chasm, a black hole that hummed with a terrifying familiarity. He gasped, gripped by the steady current of their darkness, threatening to drown him. Disembodied whispers floated around him, echoes of his insecurities and doubts. "You're not strong enough," they taunted. "You'll never save her. You will fail." Panic surged through him. "No," he shouted defiantly, clenching his fists around the axe. He refused to let their words take root. But the shadows laughed, a cacophony of cruel, mocking sounds that burrowed into his mind, planting seeds of despair. Then, a flicker of recognition brought him to a halt. Deep within the shadows, he felt a pulse that didn't belong to them. It was Lila's presence, strong and resolute, shining against the veil of night. "Hold on!" he cried. "I'm coming for you." The shadows tightened around him, viciously pushing back against his resolve, but he fought against their grip, propelled by the light of her spirit. The memory of her laughter infused him with a surge of courage. He pressed onward, navigating the dark labyrinth, determined to reach the heart of the madness. Suddenly, he stumbled upon a clearing, a brief oasis of light amidst the thick darkness. His breaths came in quick bursts as he scanned the area. Could this be where Lila was trapped? But the question lingered in the air, a heavy doubt. Was this a sanctuary or another trap laid by the darkness? As he stepped closer, the shadows around him began to pulse like a heartbeat, their rhythm resonating with sinister intensity. The whispers returned, louder now, demanding his surrender. Sam Lila's voice shattered through the discord, crystal clear amidst the chaos. But the shadows shrieked, angry and defiant. "Will you save her, or will you destroy yourself?" Sam felt the walls of despair closing in, leaving him with a choice that could shatter everything he knew. Would he dare to save her, even if it cost him his final thread of hope? As he steadied himself, the darkness loomed, vibrant with malevolence, daring him to take a step forward into the unknown. Lila! He called one last time, resolute and fragile all at once. But as the shadows closed in, he wondered if he was walking straight into oblivion. The shadows pressed in on him, a swirling mass of despair and hunger. Sam felt the weight of the dark truths closing around him. The darkness wanted him to surrender. To see love as merely a fleeting thing, a spark soon extinguished. But he had come too far to give in now. Lila! He shouted into the void. I want to stop. I'm coming for you. With a surge of adrenaline, he lunged forward, the axe held high. The darkness writhed and twisted, but he fought against it, each swing a declaration of his resolve. You can't take her. But as he swung, the surroundings warped, the echo of his voice fading as shadows surged forward. Just ahead, a faint luminescence flickered, desperately battling the oppressive gloom. It was Lila's spirit, a beautiful beam amidst the chaos. Sam! Her voice cried, warm yet tinged with sadness. You must be strong. He could see her now, trapped within the shadows, her form shimmering in and out of focus. She looked so close, yet so far. I want to leave you. We'll break this together. With renewed fervor, he pressed toward her, instinct guiding him to fight through the resistance enveloping him. The darkness shrieked as he struck again, breaking the shadows that bound her. Each blow was amplified by the warmth of hope radiating from his heart. Hold on! He yelled, his voice stronger now. The air vibrated with his determination. Fight back. I'm right here. With every swing, the shadows recoiled, their fierce grip slackening. He caught glimpses of Lila's face, her eyes bright with unshed tears, but also with a flicker of trust. Together, she whispered, and he felt the reality of their bond solidify between them. That he turned, adopting the stance of a champion. I will not allow you to take her. He struck at the core of darkness again, and the air crackled with energy. The darkness howled in rage, releasing an ominous whirlwind of despair. Love is not your weakness. He roared, swinging with everything he had. It's your end. Suddenly, the shadows exploded into a sudden flash, as if something brilliant had shattered through the layers of darkness. A blinding light surged forth, wrapping around Lila and Sam, casting away the oppressive gloom. Sam! Lila's voice reverberated in his mind, clearer and bold. The darkness shrieked, unraveling at the seams as the light intensified around them, exposing the twisted forms hiding in the corners of despair. Then, in that brilliant flash, he saw them, the shadows, the beasts, wretched, ancient entities that thrived on fear. They snarled and writhed, swirling angrily as the light consumed them. With a powerful final swing of the axe, he struck at the heart of the darkness, the sound echoing like a thunderclap. The energy exploded outward. And then, silence fell, heavy and complete. When Sam opened his eyes, he was lying on the cool forest floor, the brightness of day spilling over the horizon. The haunting darkness had vanished. He felt a sudden rush of relief flooding his system, warmth replacing the chill that had gripped him. Beside him, Lila struggled to sit up, confusion etched on her face. Sam? She asked, eyes wide with uncertainty. Is it really you? Yeah, it's me, he replied, the words overwhelming him with emotion. They embraced, tears blurring his vision and mingling with laughter, joyous, cathartic laughter that spilled forth from their souls. The forest around them was alive with the sound of nature, vibrant colors dancing in the light of dawn. We did it, Lila whispered, her smile illuminating everything. We're free. Sam nodded, feeling the weight of their shared pain lifting. They had faced the abyss and emerged whole. The love they fought for had prevailed against the darkness. As they stood, hands entwined, a soft breeze whispered through the trees, and for the first time, it didn't feel ominous or foreboding. The wilderness was welcoming now, alive with hope. They turned toward the tower behind them, the symbol of their trials, a reminder of the darkness they had faced. But now it stood as a testament to their courage and resilience. "Let us go home," Sam said, pulling her close, ready to leave the shadows behind. The two walked hand in hand, their hearts light. Together, they had faced a darkness that no one should ever confront alone. And together, they would forge a new beginning, rich with promise and warmth. This is where their new story starts. Now, I need you to listen closely. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Seriously, this is the moment to show your support. And while you're at it, smash that like button now to feed the algorithm, because it really helps us out. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this breathtaking conclusion. I want to hear everything. Don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Your support makes this community so special. Let us keep it growing.